Hey guys, what is going on? This is Daaro DS. Welcome back for more Witch on the Holy Night, a fantasy visual novel by Type Moon, and it's one of their more recent ones. So, I mean, I've heard a lot of good things, and enjoy the Fate series or the Fate realm, the Fate Nasu universe. Then this might. It'll definitely pique your fancy, pique your interest. So we're going to load up. We're in a day in our life. One this up right now and get started with episode number 2. As you can hear, the sound is really good. The sound effects are just absolutely insane. Before the room slid into view. Disregarding the atmosphere, she stormed straight in, and she came face to face with the stranger inside. But before that, let's jump back a bit and rejoin our other player. Do whatever you like. For some people, these words are a priceless luxury. For others, they are an unbearable torture. The girl fell into the former category. In fact, she was left to her own devices like that. Like that, she'd probably think it'd be too good to be true and get suspicious. But to the boy, to him, those words were a painful splinter that stirred up feelings of homesickness. Or at least, they should have been. But at the moment, he was so focused on waiting that not a trace of discontent showed on his face. Almost unconsciously, he stood up straight and stared into the gray sky outside. It had already been an hour now, but he was sure that they must have had their reasons for keeping him waiting, and it wasn't like it was costing him anything. As long as the sound of rain continued, he felt like he could keep waiting forever. It'll be 9 o'clock soon, I think. Nevertheless, he was vaguely keeping track of the time as he listened to the rain. The empty schoolhouse was deathly silent. The only noise was the rain pattering on the window. No one else is here because they're on alarm break. Why? Yeah, it was quiet, melancholic. It was a quiet, melancholic sound. But then, he heard a clatter of forceful footsteps approaching. Finally, I thought they had forgotten about me. He could make out 2 sets of footsteps, one light and one heavy. No sooner than he had breathed a sigh of relief than the door to the meeting room slid open. Sorry about the wait. The first person he saw was the man in the glasses with the uncomfortable smile. Yamashiro Kazuki. He was the teacher that had brought him to this room. Huh? Mr. Tanaka isn't here? Man, and I told him to keep you company, too. Mr. Yamashiro scratched his head as if to apologize. And then from behind him, a dark-haired beauty appeared, eyes brimming with confidence. Her tight-lipped mouth betrayed her foul mood. What do we have here? His breath caught in his throat. The sound of the rain hitting the window vanished from his world. At that moment, for the first time in his life, he knew what it meant for time to stand still. Ever so slightly, she blinked her eyes in surprise. The reason was a mystery. He was the very image of a simple country boy, just as she expected. Yet, she was instinctively repulsed. That's everywhere. Ever so slightly, he opened his eyes in surprise. The reason was obvious. But as he couldn't put it into words, this too would forever go unanswered. In that instant, he was sure he had felt the hand of fate. Well then, I'll handle the introductions. This is our new transfer student, Shizuki Sojiro. Sojiro, this girl here is Aozaki Aoko. She'll be showing you around. She is the president of the school student council, and she volunteered to give up her holiday just to help you out. Yeah, she forcefully had to volunteer. Forcefully. The teacher's voice and the sound of the rain were vaguely distant. At any rate, this was how they met. For better or for worse, it was a trivial beginning, like scattering spark. It was a commonly accepted theory among students that Aozaki Aoko was perpetually in a foul mood. In truth, this was mostly bias. She didn't have the spare time to be irritated every waking hour. She simply had a personality that hated to make excuses, and while it was sometimes subtle and sometimes overt, she always looked like she was angry at something nobody else could see. Yes, 99% of it was nothing more than biased rumor that had grown out of control until it became enshrined as one of the 7 dangers of the school. However, the remaining 10% was absolutely true. Her tendency to feel revulsion towards harmless things was enough to make Aoko herself wonder if she might actually suffer from chronic headaches. The day fell to that 10%. It was the only time her anger burned pure, and she displayed a selfishness appropriate for her age. The meeting room was dimly lit, soaked with the color of the rain. In order to cut costs, it was school regulation that electric lights would be switched off during the day. Her first impression was that he seemed calm, like a field of wildflowers. Though his posture was perfect, he seemed completely relaxed, docilely. He wasn't unsteady, really, but then there was a sense of unreliability about him. Even with his uniform on, she could tell that he was slightly skinnier than average. Did he injure himself? Looks like he has bandages on his neck. And, I don't know. His black hair was unkempt, and overall he was an unremarkable. No, looking at it another way, it might have been better to call him a young man. The relaxed atmosphere he gave off was somehow very adult. Perhaps it had something to do with her irrational revulsion. He blended in too well that the scenery of the meeting room. He blended in too well with the scenery of the meeting room. Even though he was an outsider, he looked like he belonged here more than she did. The dots are everywhere. She felt an unidentifiable sense of aggravation, like her own unborn right to be here was questioned, and instinctively raised her guard. Why am I angry? Not being able to understand something always frustrated her, especially when something was her own emotions. Didn't hurt, not really, but for a perfectionist like herself, it was like a nagging splinter in her mind. Hello, Aoko. Go ahead and greet him. Mr. Yamashiro's attempts to smooth over the situation was just as annoying. Greet him. Shot a quick scowl at her teacher, then gazed straight at the boy in front of her. Though to an outside observer, it probably looked more like a head-on stare down. At that instant, the full brunt of her emotions was directed at the innocent he had only just met. Sorry about the wait. The boy, Shoichirou, snapped out of his reverie. He squeezed his eyes shut for a second and took a deep breath to clear his head. Interpreting it as nerves, Mr. Yamashiro laughed gently and addressed the girl beside him. Well, then I'll handle the introductions. This is our new transfer student, Shizuki Shoichirou. Shoichirou, this girl here is Aozaki Aoko. She'll be showing you around. She's the president of the student council, and she volunteered to give up her holiday just to help you out. After being introduced, the girl took a step forward. Her eyes were merciless, almost violent. But somehow Shoichirou managed to keep his composure under her fiercely appraising stare. Perhaps he was under the mistaken impression that this was a common greeting in the city. Looking at it from an objective point of view, there was something sublime about the exchange. It was clear that the stage belonged to the girl itching for a fight, and the country boy that earnestly returned her gaze. For anybody else, it was a torturous limbo. For instance, Mr. Yamashiro, though he had done what he thought was best and chosen an honor student to help out, that honor student was in an inexplicably foul mood, and the tension in the air was palpable. He accepted his failure. The girl usually solved everything diplomatically, but a blunder here could turn into a storm that rocked the school to its very foundation. It wasn't fair, but if he stuck around, he'd definitely take most of the blame for the scandal as a teacher that happened to be present at the time. Well, it seems you two have soon really hit it off. And I suppose I'll just see myself out. Letting out a fake laugh, he slowly edged his way towards the door. I'll be in the faculty room, so come and see me when you're done. You remember what I told you, right? I have faith in your vast magnanimity as student council president, so don't let me down. Magnanimity. And what is up with this guy? And so Mr. Yamashiro ran away like a coward he is. Only the naive boy and the gloomy cross-armed girl remained, gazing into each other's eyes. though technically one of them was glaring. A stare down. A brief silence. They were like shogi players agonizing over their opening moves, though in reality Aoko realized that she was the only one giving it that much thought. For the time being, she decided to set aside her irritation. It wasn't like she even had a reason to be mad at Shoichirou in the first. She let out a heavy sigh and turned to face him. Whatever, Miss Yamashiro is totally useless. Well, this is nothing new. Well, are you going to introduce yourself? Her tone was critical. However, this boy didn't notice the snideness in her voice. After all, he was incapable of such venom himself. Oh, right. I'm Suzuki Soujiro, I guess. And you were Miss Aozaki? For some reason, he seemed happy. He smiled as if he was savoring the experience. He's so formal. Just Aoko's fine. However, how about you? Huh? Me? I mean, do you go by Soujiro? Or something else? What, did I say something strange? Oh no. The boy answered promptly as if it was perfectly natural, but a brief flicker of doubt played over his face. You didn't say anything strange at all. I don't have a nickname or anything like that. Soujiro is fine. Great. Aoko responded curtly and then turned around. Wasn't enthusiastic about it, but she'd been assigned this job. It was her policy to see it through to the very end. Sorry, but I don't have any intention of being nice. My time is precious. Let's just get this over with as quickly as possible. I completely agree. Time is very important. Once again, her fastball whizzed right past his head. God, is she turning into quite the tsundere, Aoko? It was only human to be overly conscious of being ignored. But despite being a little upset more that none of her attacks were landing, she did her best to be professional and ushered him into the hallway. This guy's an idiot. Oh. There's no sunlight in the windowless hallways, nor signs of human life. The meeting room was natural. It was a natural cavern, then this was an artificial prison. Right now, that suits me just fine. Aoko sighed again. Before we start, did you understand everything Mr. Yamashiro told you? You're talking about how the school works, then yes. Though I have to admit that I can't really imagine this building being filled up with so many people that are all the same age. Well, then that's good. She rubbed her forehead. Before he came here, Soujiro had no idea what a school was. At most, he probably only had a vague idea that it was a place where lots of people came to learn. High school teachers imparted the knowledge and wisdom of the various fields to students and instilled them in both discipline and creativity. But never in their wildest dream did she think that the day would come that they would have explained the concept of school itself. The basics were important, but that was just ridiculous. Personally, she doubted that he would be able to handle high school level classes, but Mr. Yamashiro said it would be fine. Apparently, he had barely passed the transfer exam. Oh well, not my problem. Sighed inwardly as she walked down the hallway. That's right, it wasn't like she had to associate with this walking anachronism after the day. No, she absolutely refused to. Aoko, He addressed her calmly. What? Can I ask you something? Go ahead. Maybe it's just my imagination, but I swear it seems like you've been glaring at this whole time. Did you eat something bad this morning? Did you eat something bad this morning? His eyes were filled with earnest worry. Oh my god. Second hammer smashed down on her head. Certainly she had been. Certainly she had been glaring at him. Or rather, she was glaring at him now. Or rather, she was glaring at everything. Even her roommate had fantasized about it. Your gaze is too harsh for normal people, Aoko. You should be trying to be a little more lenient. And it was true for her. She wore her emotions on her sleeve. For him to think it was just his imagination. Exactly how dense was he? Is he making fun of me? Oh no, it couldn't be. Tried to reassure herself, but couldn't get a read on him one way or another. Finally sensed it. This stupid-looking transfer student might as well be an alien life form. Okay, I'm only saying this directly because it looks like you won't understand if I don't. It wasn't your imagination. I was indirectly expressing my emotions with my eyes. Talking and making conversation is annoying. In response, the invader clapped his hands together. I see. I don't really get why you want to do that, but it's a quicker way to express yourself. He agreed easily. However, he had no idea what emotions she was trying to express. It was like he could read the letters, but couldn't understand the word. Thoughts that should be connected were separated into blocks. So that's it. This guy, he really is on a different wavelength than the rest of us. She finally understood what Mr. Yamashiro meant. Sojiro's eccentricity were beyond mere obliviousness. Still, the place was like a foreign country for her. She had supposed a little jet lag was permissible. Well, then I'll show you to your classroom. She pulled herself together and tried to move things along. However, Shojiro stopped and raised his hand. It's one more thing. He spoke calmly as always. Aoko quietly urged him on, holding her brow in a vague sense of unease. It's nothing major, but why are you angry? Is it your job, maybe? Or does it run in your family? Oh my god, this guy. Long silence fell over the hallway. This guy. It was too late to do anything about it now, but for a split second, wished she had never answered the phone. Warning. He means well. That's just how he is. Turning into internal mantra, she supposed repressed her natural impulse. It's not your fault, so don't worry about it. I just have somewhere I'd rather be right now. She gave a vague answer and started walking again, putting the impudent stranger at her back. Personality was extremely normal, under certain standards of normal. If he was a color, he'd be plain white. He was simple and a decent person, though his appearance was a little careless. So from Sojiro's point of view, Aozaki Aoko was crisp and energetic. Even her unconscious movements were sharp and efficient, started and stopped on a dime. Her raised finger when pointing, her gestures when walking down the hallways, and classrooms. Her occasional glances over her shoulder to check on him. Her every action was utterly striking. There was no way they wouldn't catch his eye. First place she brought him was Class 2C. The Class 2C classroom. It had more of a human touch than a meeting room, but he still couldn't guess what it was used for. After a brief lecture, the tour continued through various specialty classrooms, the gymnasium, the cafeteria, the locker rooms, and the nurse's office. Because he kept requesting explanations at every stop, it was several hours before they finally reached the audiovisual room on the second floor. No good. Oh, this is him. Oh, this is no good. Suddenly stopped walking, a serious face, a serious look on his face. It'll be 1 o'clock in 20 minutes. No way, is our school really that big? It hadn't even been 10 o'clock when they started, which meant they'd been walking on for almost 3 hours now. A simple tour of the school shouldn't take anywhere near that long. That's right, it's because you have to keep asking questions after question. That's it. Has gotten this. A miracle it hasn't gotten dark yet. Aoko cast a sharp glance at Shoichirou. He was being sarcastic, knowing full well that he wouldn't pick up on it. Huh? But had his state of mind changed? He was looking down apathetically, apologetically. What's up with him all of a sudden? He was like a totally different person. Compared to earlier, when his expression wouldn't change no matter what she said, she felt a strange sense of familiarity. And for some reason, she started getting annoyed again. What's wrong? Don't tell me it's too much for you to remember. No, well, actually it is. But that's not the problem. It doesn't have anything to do with the school, it's just the fact that it's almost 1 o'clock. He suddenly averted his gaze and was worried about something. As if he was worried about something. The weather, maybe. Sadly, the hallway had no windows. Oh, so you've got somewhere to be, don't you? I get it. Saying you're okay barging in and messing up people's plans, going to run off and do whatever you like. I'm surprised. You're nicer than you look. Thanks, but flattery won't help me. Like hell that was flattery. She exploded it. Well, what? Well, what's the big hurry? Seeing what she was getting at, he nodded sagely. Secret. Sounded like a joke, but he was perfectly serious. This guy. Just when I think I'm starting to get used to his tempo, he throws another curveball. In a Herculean effort, she down the fury boiling up inside of her and forced a top-quality smile. Shoichirou, step forward. I told you it's a secret. He couldn't swear he felt a chill in the air. Step back. Step, step, step. No matter how he retreated, how far he retreated, she kept getting closer and closer. Although she was smiling, you could see her temples throbbing. Hey, I got one last question. Are you having fun mocking me? He absolutely wasn't. But that strange smile probably wouldn't go away even if he could prove it. Alright, I'll tell you. He raised his arms in surrender. Same time, she stopped advancing. Her incongruous smile faded. The truth is, I have a part-time job that starts at 1 o'clock. That's against the rules here, right? Well, yeah, but... Oh. Why you wanted to keep it a secret? Idiot. I don't know when you could have just asked for permission. I know, I got permission when I took the transfer exam. Really? Face brightened. He was better prepared than she thought. But... thing is, I've only got permission for one of them. From one of them. What? Wait, you're saying you have more? I did cut backbite. But my living expenses are bad enough, and now I have to pay tuition on top of it. Saying I can only have one job is unreasonable, right? No, the unreasonable one is definitely you. Wasn't by much, but she revised her opinion of him. The fact that he was handling all of his expenses by himself was respectable, and she could empathize with being too busy to play around. Her anger began to fade. Honestly, she was shocked. Never in a million years did she hear the words part-time job come out of this country boy's mouth. I won't stop you. It's fine. Go. I understand where you're coming from. Will you be okay? He didn't really get what he was trying to say, but he at least understood that he was being considerate. For some reason, that surprised her. He was so dense about other things that she figured that he would be insensitive to other people's feelings as well. Don't worry. Don't worry, I'll head on home now. Incidentally, she never had any intention of stopping by the facility room. According to Mr. Yamashiro, the transfer procedures such had already been completed. All that was left was probably just diplomatic formalities. Okay, I'm done showing him around. Thanks for all your hard work. You too, Sojiro. You too, Sojiro. What did you think of the building? Thank you very much. It was really school. Wow. I see. Okay. Work hard starting tomorrow. He had no interest whatsoever in that kind of trivial conclusion. Don't worry about Mr. Yamashiro. He likes the faculty room enough to run back after pushing his work off into his students. Sure, he'll wait there for hours. Or more like, isn't that what he deserves? I see, well, you'll be okay, then that's okay. Was it there? There it was again. What on earth what did he mean by that? I guess I'll head out then. Thanks for today. Right. Just remember this was a one-time deal. I just waved her hand as if telling him to get a move on. His face lit up with a broad smile. It was strikingly in a sharp contrast to his normal dull expressions. Anybody who saw that would surely find themselves grinning back whether they wanted to or not. Well, almost anybody. Unsurprisingly, Aoko Aozaki was a completely immune. Yeah. See you later. Huh? Leaving her with an overly familiar goodbye. Turned around and walked into a classroom. Hey! He was heading straight for the window. Split it open with an uneasy gesture. Then the room filled with cold November air. He muffled the sound of the rain, and the muffled sound of rain that turned. What are you doing? What are you doing? Realized his intentions on an instant. Couldn't help but realize. Hey, wait. He already had one leg up. He already had one leg up in the frame. She desperately charged across the room to stop him. What the hell do you think you're doing? What do you mean? I'm going to work. Since when is a window an exit? What floor do you think it is? What floor do you think this is? As soon as she said that, a light bulb popped open over his head. Oh. Almost died. Dropping down from the second story floor window was too dangerous. Only thing dangerous thing here is your head. Fortunately, your ill-tuned time jab went unnoticed. Anyway, people go in and out through windows here. Should have probably told you earlier. I know that. I was just flustered because I'm running late. Thanks, though. I'll be more careful from now on. I'll go the right way, you idiot. Carefully, he put it down and shut the window. His brand new uniform was soaking wet. However, you can go outside however you like. Just don't do it in front of me. Setting it aside, are you really going to be coming to school from now on? I am. It's a little scary, but thanks to you, I think I'll be okay. You better go the right way. Said goodbye again, and then walked out into the hallway. Hopefully this time he won't go down the stairs, and he would go. Hopefully this time he would go down the stairs and leave normally through the entrance. Jeez, I wonder if he'll really be okay. An image of his receding back flashed through her mind. Though he had no intention of spending any more time with him, strangely anxious. Whether it was out of concern or aggravation, he couldn't say. And for that matter, had she gotten mad at him for no reason in the first place? Mysterious day, mysterious transfer student, and a mysterious emotion. He tilted her head in retrospect. Tilted her head. In retrospect, it wouldn't have been an enjoyable experience. Not an irritating one. Would have been. Should have been. Oh well. It's not like I'd be seeing him again. He listened to the echoing rain. The cold gray sky numbed her sense of time. It was impossible to tell if it was morning or evening. She and Mr. Yamashiro were probably the only ones left in the schoolhouse. Being alone in this lightless, gloomy classroom, it was unsettling. Suddenly, she lifted the sleeve up on her arm. According to the small, plain wristwatch she wore there, it was almost 1 o'clock. Had the right time. She looked down through the window at the ground outside. A uniformed figure was hurrying through the drizzling rain without an umbrella. It was an unremarkable scene, yet for some reason, it left her with a profoundly deep impression. Aoko left without stopping by the facility room. Mr. Yamashiro offered to send her home in a car. Had been tempting her, but in the end she decided that ruining his day off, just like he had ruined hers, would definitely be infinitely more satisfying. Quietly approached the school's entrance, opened her bright red umbrella. Just as she had predicted, the rain was already slowing to this rate. It would stop within the hour, and it would be sunny by the time she got home. Well, I guess it's not too bad. Shrugged her shoulders in resignation. While she didn't particularly like or dislike the rain, she did enjoy walking with her red umbrella. Faculty of the Misaki High disapproved of flashy things, so her red umbrella, something of an oddity. At one point, there was a ghost story making the rounds about how it used to be pure white. So apparently, it started Aoko instead of a ghost. Under that fabled umbrella, she set off for Misaki Station. The school she attended was formerly called Misaki High School. As the name suggested, it was located in the town of Misaki. Long ago, Misaki had been mostly farmland and forests, but for a period of rapid growth, for the last 10 years, it caused a sudden and widespread modernization. Some had argued that the nature-filled Misaki should remain as it was. The mayor at the time declared, "While I agree with preserving nature, here it would mean giving up our livelihood." The minority opinion was suppressed. The long-term urban development plan began. An excessive amount of money was gathered. In a mere 10 years, the relatively normal town of Misaki had become the pride of Misaki City. Though it didn't have a modern flair of nearby Yashirogi, nor the simple elegance of Misaki Hills. Not surprising. No matter how you tinker with it, it's still a mountain town at its core. You have to flatten the whole place to really make a difference. Indeed, the development was limited in the lowlands around the train station, while the hills and mountains were left untouched. The old town had been forsaken by its residents, in the end was protected by the lack of funds. And so, it was turning into a truly odd provincial, with patches of rustic style still remaining even as people flooded in from the city centers. As for Misaki High, it was a private high school that had been around long before any development. The current schoolhouse was actually the second. First had been built 50 years earlier. They were higher up in the mountains. However, it's too far away. The path is too steep. The road is turning into an animal trail. For various reasons, the school was shut down until 20 years ago. Up until 20 years ago. It was only due to the generous donation from a certain department store group headquartered in Misaki City that they were able to build a new schoolhouse. The schoolhouse in front of the forest became the forgotten old school. Misaki High was once again opened as a place of learning. Though, to tell you the truth, most of the students weren't actually residents of Misaki. Simple, good-natured people who lived in the country town were the type to rather to go to the prefectural high school than a private one. In fact, Aoko herself was one of them. Her modest ambition had been to move to Tokyo after graduating middle school, where she had hung out at clubs every day, listening to live music while working to get into a national university. But her sister's departure had denied her even of that. And now she was here, in this town, walking with her bright red umbrella, on what should have been a relaxing day out. Thinking back, feels like my whole life had been one disaster after another. She grumbled to herself, a pre-December cold. Oh well, at least it hadn't been boring. The mood improved a bit as she left the school behind her. Further down the gently sloping road was a bustling, lively part of town. Misaki Station was brand new. As we enter this part, I'm gonna leave it right here. As this, it will be about it. We're about 46 minutes in, a little longer than last episode. I wanted to do a little longer, but actually not that long, to be honest with you. But anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go, and hope you enjoyed today's episode. I think it had a lot of structure and a lot to do in this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Daaro DS signing out, and I will catch you guys on the next episode of Mahoyo, the Witch on the Holy Night, or just Witch on the Holy Night. This is episode 2. I'll catch you guys next. Peace. Have a good day.